want me to start?
Yes. So what I'll do, Ravindra, is first I'll introduce you. So just now I have started the recording. So everybody, a very good morning to all of you. Thank you on a weekend to actually take your time out and attend this awesome webinar. This is one more webinar which I personally am also very excited to attend, because as we were just chit-chatting before the formal start, I truly believe whether we are in a so-called sales role or not, we all need sales techniques and skills in our life, personally and professionally. Whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are a finance person like Sonia, even Sonia in the finance role, you will be selling your budgets and financial stuff to your colleagues, your seniors, your peers to get approval and stuff like that. I don't consider that to be any different than sales, isn't it? So wonderful to have all of you. Before we get started and hand it over to Ravindra, I want to say a few lines in his introduction. Ravindra is a CXO, executive coach, trainer, and consultant. His expertise is in the area of complex sales, expanding key accounts, winning proposals, inside sales, design thinking, and value development. So we can see he must be one of his kind coach and trainer in these areas. He has in the past worked for companies like IBM, HP, Wipro, Cognizant, CGI, and Sonata. His last corporate position was vice president in growth initiatives. He started off as a software programmer, developing applications in banking, and moved to delivery, pre-sales, sales, and consulting roles globally. So once again, none of us need to feel that where we have started is where we need to end necessarily. We can keep moving even horizontally, right? He has certifications from Marshall Goldsmith Coaching, ISB Hyderabad, Blue Ocean Strategy, Design Thinking, and Signature Selling Methodology. So with these few words, I would like to welcome you, Ravindra, once again. Thank you for taking your time out and today agreeing to share your expertise with all of us. So guys, are you all ready with your notepad and pen? And keep thinking of all the questions, and whenever you have a few questions, keep putting it in the chat box, and we will definitely get Ravindra to help us with all the answers we want. All right, so with that, may I hand it over to you, Ravindra?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Archana.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good
I know
morning.
Saturday is a busy day, and thanks for making your time for this webinar. This particular webinar is not only about sales. I'll not introduce myself in the interest of time because Archana has done a great job of over introducing me, in fact. So nice of you, Archana.
You're welcome, Ravindra. I truly believe you have a great profile. Yeah.
So much. I'll skip the introduction part. So how today's webinar for the next half an hour I've constructed along with Archana is globally, what are the top 6 challenges for revenue growth in any organization? Cutting across domains, cutting across industries, etc. We'll spend a few minutes there. The next one is the 4 pillars of an organization's revenue growth. I'll call it not pillars, but engines. Typically in any organization, be it an IT, BPO, non-IT, manufacturing, etc., wherever there is a product or a service to be sold, these 4 pillars or 4 engines are a must in any organization for growth. We're going to look at that. And along with that, what I will do is to make this webinar more interesting, I'll bring in I'll bring in 4 case studies, which I was part of, where as a team member and also leading those particular RFPs or opportunities, I can say, and connect that to the 4 pillars of organization revenue growth. Having said that, there are challenges, there are win inhibitors, or any company, the best of the companies like Infosys, Accenture also, their win ratio is probably around 20%, 15 to 20%, typically in any service organization. They'll not go beyond 22, 25 maximum, which means that for every 5 RFPs they compete, they are winning only one, which means that 80% of the times they're losing, which means that there is so much a stiff competition that every time there is 80% of competition they are facing. So we're going to look at that particular angle also. And the last bit is, for this particular madness, is there a method? Is there a framework? It cannot be a casting in stone, but can it be a broad level framework which can be inherited to our organizations and take it forward? And in the last 15 minutes, we're going to open it for Q&A. Maybe by what time, Archana? Around 11,
Yeah,
11:30?
yeah, around 11:30. Yeah.
11:30. Okay. You are good to ask questions in between. This is it. The first slide. Okay. The first slide is all about the top 6 challenges. It can be services industry or a product industry. It can be for IT. It can be for any company. Not able to create the truest value. I keep talking to many companies. Before I go for training and coaching and consulting, I talk to the business leaders, especially from the sales, the front-ending people who hold the P&L responsibility. I ask them, what value do you offer unique to your competition? 8 out of 10 times, these leaders cannot differentiate because they think value is perceived as a narration of the offering or services, but there is no value adding conversations. In sales, conversation and messaging is critical. But here, the first challenge here is they can't differentiate or they can't show a value between amongst the competition. The first challenge or the inhibitor for revenue growth of an organization. The second one is not able to educate buyers with insights. I will move from this slide and come to the real case studies where we can relate the case studies back to this. The second challenge is not able to educate buyers with insights. What I mean by this is there were instances, there were deals, there were very large procurements which I was part of. My customers were not aware of anything beyond their domain. For example, if it's an insurance company, they were experts or vertical experts in insurance and related areas, but not on the IT or not on customer experience or consumer experience. So what it is up to us as a seller, consultant, coach, etc., to educate our buyers, to educate our customers with insights. The third point is opportunities are not proactive. In the sense, what we do is most sellers wade or swim in the red ocean, they don't create a blue ocean for them, which means that they don't create opportunities. There is a saying in large deal procurement, especially in the RFP, 6 needs or 6 critical needs are converted into one particular RFP, which means that the 5 needs or requirements, which may even be critical, has not been identified by the consultants or the customer advisors or the sellers. It is only after the RFP is out, the sellers go ask for an RFP, telling that even I would like to bid for this particular contract. So it's not proactive, it is mainly reactive. It's only seeking, kind of asking all the time, but not driving. The fourth one is write proposals, non-empathetic solutions. I was part of many proposals, many solutions, which we wrote for very large RFPs. Those days, I was not trained how to write an empathetic, resonating, addressing the stakes of the stakeholder proposals. I used to write an proposal just by copying a previous proposal and going forward from there, changing the name of the company and maybe some construct of the proposal. So my proposals, when I was during corporate days, young enough, untrained or unenabled, my proposals were not empathetic. And even today, when I go for training, I ask for a proposal to see what is the maturity of the organization writing proposals. It is not empathetic. It is not resonating to the stakeholders or the customers or the customers' customers. The fourth one, complacent in-house experts, not client advisors. Lot many companies has an architect a domain expert, a functional expert, a finance expert, etc., as experts in their organization doing only the regular job they do. They don't put them in front of the customer as client advisors because buyers like SMEs to be in front of them than just mere generalist sellers. The last one is today everybody talks about digital transformation. It is there in every CEO's mind. But how many sellers, how many consultants can convert an opportunity, a tiny into a big, a non-digital to a digital contract? So the key takeaway from this slide is there are many challenges, but as I've seen with both my experience as an employee as well as a consultant and a trainer, these are the top 6 challenges. Not able to create value, not able to share insights, reactive, not being proactive, non-empathetic solutions or proposals, not exposing our expertise, SME expertise in front of customers, and digital is more an analog discussion. And I'm sure you may be having questions. Let me pause here. Am I audible? Is my slides clear?
Yes, actually, Ravindra, you're very much audible. It's clear. And what I would request is, please, for questions, put it in the chat box or use the emoticon button and raise your hand so that Ravindra can see you up front. As when we are sharing the slide, as you all know, we don't see all of you in one go. Okay. So I think as of now, we don't have anybody, Ravindra. Please continue.
Sure. Okay, here's my deck. What did I do?
We can see your slide.
You can see my slide?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
But I'm not able to see.
You can stop sharing and share again in case that helps.
1 second. There is a setting.
Okay.
But I want to see both the audience as well as my deck, but it's somehow not happening. Let me not waste time on that. So these are the So these are the 4. Having seen the first slide, what are the top 6 challenges? There is more challenges to it. The top 6 is what I mentioned. Which are the 4 functions or the engines which drive the revenue growth? These are 2 distinct topics, the first one and this one, but I'm going to connect in the next couple of slides. The front-end sales or the business development, sales, customer-facing roles who work both for B2B as well as B2C sales across their offerings, be it both products and services. What challenges they face? Long sales cycle for enterprise leads, more talk, less value articulation. As I told in the previous slide, value articulation is just, they feel it's only talking. I was part of one particular deal where my sales guy spoke for around 45 minutes in a 1-hour meeting, but he forgot to ask what is your need to the customer. So people think talking is sales, but talking is not just sales. Listening is also part of sales. Mostly not customer advocates, but they are always in a hurry to close deals because of the pressure they carry by their bosses. The first pillar or the first engine, which is the front-end sales. These are the people who get RFPs into the organization, RFX into the organization. The second one is people who should infer every word in the RFP, read in between words, read in between lines like a lawyer. The solution architects are the bid and proposal response writers, basically. It's a large team. There'll be a set of project managers, delivery managers, domain experts, technical experts, solution architects. They all come together and write one particular proposal. Of course, we include the finance and the HR and the legal also, so that our contract doesn't bleed after we start working with our customers legally as well as by profit wise. So the second engine is people who craft winning proposals for large, complex, strategic, critical RFPs. Their challenge is at least when I was working in corporate till the last leg of my corporate life, I was not trained how to write a winning proposal. I was not trained how to even understand an RFP properly. So a lack of crafting winning proposal framework or a process, every organization, most organizations I've seen do not have a framework or a process. They say we have. When I go for coaching and training, when I ask, can I look at your framework? It is probably one single slide they have. They don't have a playbook. They don't have a strategic playbook to win large deals. And they are mostly learned from I learned that way. I learned from my manager. I learned from my peers. If my manager is wrong, I have learned it wrong. If my peer is wrong, I have learned it wrong, which means that organizations usually are hesitant to enable the workforce in this particular growth engine. The third engine is strategic or key account management. Once the sales have got the RFP, once the proposal writers have written a wonderful proposal and submitted and won that particular RFP or a contract, then comes the contract being established where the delivery managers or the relationship managers or the account managers have to take that particular delivery forward from the contract start date. They are the people who are customer facing on a daily basis, who work with the key stakeholders in the particular organization after winning the contract. Their challenges are lack of a framework again. You ask 5 different key account managers in any company, they'll be working in 5 different disorganized manner. Lack of stakeholder engagement or management, and fierce competition. As I told you earlier in my previous slide, there are 6 competitors waiting to displace an incumbent. This is a global statistics across industries and across countries, which means that if a Wipro has a contract with Michelin tires in US, there are 6 competitors waiting to displace or dislodge Wipro and take that particular contract. That's a global statistics. The third engine or the third revenue pillar. The fourth one is inside sales, who does behind the scene activities like lead identification, lead management, lead nurturing, teleprospecting, proactive pursuits, identify pursuits or identify opportunities from market or business triggers through various social media, digital channels. And also empaneling vendors. If my company has 100 must-have accounts, my job, this inside sales job, is to ensure they go to the e-procurement portals of these particular 100 must-have account companies. They go to the e-procurement site and they proactively register them so that next time when that particular company raises an RFP, this company also gets a copy of it. The issue with this particular, the issues are with inside sales mainly are mostly ignored function, though this particular team can have very high impact or create great impact. There are lack of tools and enablement, no proper investments, etc., and mostly order taking function to the sales because they don't have a hearsay. Mostly it is all managed not by sales, but it is managed by marketing function, which according to me should not be the case. So the first, let me pause here after 1 minute. The previous slide, we saw the top 6 challenges, and I've also brought in the top 4 engines or the top 4 pillars of an organization's revenue growth. I'll pause here for a moment in case anybody has any questions.
Actually, I would like to ask a question. This is something that I also have observed, Ravindra, that inside sales is not just one of the most ignored ones, but a lot of freshers are there taken in, are directly almost put into that role and expected to just, train under organically their leaders and with peers. If companies are having this department, why is this so prominent that they don't give proper attention to this?
Multiple reasons. In fact, I'd written a post a couple of weeks back in LinkedIn, why inside sales should not be an ignored function. Point number one, they are not in the hierarchy of an organization, they are nowhere seen because sales always has an ear from the CXOs because the CXOs has to show revenue and some growth in their organization. They have all the attention for sales, but not to the inside sales, mostly even to the pre-sales also, because pre-sales also, the proposal writing function also is kind of a controlled by the sales to a large extent. Point number one, they don't have visibility. Point number two, majorly it's investment. Because they think inside sales has to get meetings from day one, which is not possible. Guru was in my team in Sonata. He knows how difficult it was for us to get 100 meetings, which took 5.5 months. That too, after they joined, they learned the process of the organization, they learned the offerings of the organization, they learned the value proposition of the organization. It took 5.5 months for us to get the 100th meeting. The first 3 months, we were only sharpening the axe. The next 2.5 months, we went ballistic and we got 100 meetings. But organizations expect very quick results. Even though the investment on inside sales is pretty less when compared to sales or proposal engine, but organizations expect, I need a meeting tomorrow or probably today. Second one, third one is inside sales can do a lot of potential. In case they shine, the credit is not gone to the sales. So sellers are always afraid of inside sales.
Wow. Okay.
Inside scale team works usually in the night time of India, which is daytime of the US. And in some cases, it's vice versa to the sales. These are the top three reasons. There are many, but these are the top three reasons.
Wow, thank you, Ravindra. And we have a question from Gururaj, which is very interesting. Gururaj, would you like to ask, or would you want me to read it out?
Yeah,
the same one.
Yeah. Yes, Ravindra.
What strategies can be implemented to improve the craft of winning proposals for large complex, considering the lack of formal training or framework? I have a framework, Guru. Probably it's the next slide. Can we hold on till there?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the first slide was all about the top challenges. The second slide is the 4 revenue pillars or revenue engines, I can say. I'll move on to the next slide in case you have no questions. Can always stop me and ask questions. So now comes the 4 case studies, which I want to, we all like stories, right? So I brought it like a story, the 4 case studies as 4 stories. And let's relate these to the first 2 slides where we saw the top challenges and the 4 growth engines. And we'll also debate after this each case study, what could have been done better or what was done better. So this guy, case study 1, I call it as power of empathy. This guy is Dandapani Mudaliar. This was a real case study. In a pepper fry studio in Gurgaon, in North India. This guy was a seller. I'll not call him a seller till I finish this particular case study. You can name what you want to this guy a little later. For now, I'll call him seller. This guy was a seller, and there was a guy, young guy, Ram, who just walked into the store, and he was looking at a chair. He went to some particular corner, looked at one particular chair, he sat on it, touched it, he was looking all around, and then he moved on to the next chair and next chair and next chair. This guy, this Dandapani, he was only watching, or he was watching, or I'll say observing. He was observing that particular prospect or a customer and what he was trying to do, touch, feel, sit, see, all that. Later on, he did not immediately engage with him. He just kept observing Ram. He was just observing Ram, his prospect and customer. And later on, when Ram, who was the customer, was looking around all the furniture, and finally, after some time, Dandapani intervened with seeking permission, can I help you, etc. Ram told, yes, I need a chair. Dandapani asked, can I ask what is the occasion? Ram said, I just got my first salary and I can see how my father struggled to make me a graduate. So I want to gift him a chair. Dandapani got that particular hint, or he observed that point also. And then he asked, how old is he? He's 75. Okay, good. And Dandapani started asking question more and more. How old is he? How healthy is he? Etc. And then Ram was getting hesitant, but he was slowly, with hesitation, replying to all that. And then he moved to his mother. How old is your mother? Is she healthy? What is her height? What is her weight? Etc. Ram was getting irritated. What kind of stupid questions are these? I want a chair, just sell me a chair. And then after hearing all this, Dandapani said, no, sir, please don't buy that chair which you have selected. I will not recommend you buy that chair. You please buy this chair. He recommended some other chair. Any guesses why the Dandapani did this?
Was doing a needs analysis.
Fantastic. Fantastic. What else? Was he trying to sell here? He was not trying to sell. In the interest of time, I'll tell you, I'll come to the climax. Dandapani was very clear. He did something called as, probably is a practitioner of empathy. He did a go to Gemba. Go to Gemba in Japanese language is go to the field, go to the paddy field. What he did is he visualized this particular chair, which Ram, being a non-expert of a furniture market space, being in some of the field, his father was 75, he had arthritis, he was short, and Ram chose a sunken chair. When he sits on that, when his father sits on the chair, he will go half feet inside. And unfortunately, that chair does not have a wooden hand support or a hand rail, which means that his father is stuck. And he also asked Ram, what about your mother? And she's also short. She's also around 5'2" or something. And she's also around 70. So to lift Ram's father, Ram should come back from office. So he told very clearly, Arey Baba, don't buy this chair, buy that chair. What is the moral of this case study? Let me go back to the slide. I'm new to this Zoom info. Sorry, Zoom.
Actually, what you could do, Ravindra, is if you want to see the customers also, go to the view on top of your screen and make it gallery view. If it's on something else or standard.
I'm not getting, no problem. No
Okay.
problem. I'll toggle.
Okay.
So
I will
this
let you know if in case anybody is lifting their hand, so I can
Sure,
bring them up. Yeah.
Sure. So what was Dandapani doing is very simple. He did a thorough customer need analysis as Uday rightly mentioned. Uday rightly mentioned. The explicit need here is gift a chair to the dad, right? But the implicit need is his age, his health condition, because he had arthritis, comfort, home situation, and the emotions, etc., which usually as sellers, as consultants, as customer advocates, which we never do. What customer asks is what we give, because of the fear of failure of losing the customer in case I challenge the customer, right? But this guy, young guy, in a pepper fry designs furniture studio can do this to a person who didn't know anything about the chair. He had the risk of that particular customer running away because that may be expensive. Of course, it was expensive by a couple of thousands. But what could you do in case somebody came and advised you this way, telling that, hey, don't buy this, buy that? This is what Dandapani did. So the first act of a seller or a consultant or across all the 4 revenue engines, sales, pre-sales, inside sales, and proposal writing, is the power of empathy. When we write proposals, when we start selling, we always have a mindset, I should somehow win this because my boss will come after me. I should somehow crack this deal because I need to meet my quota. But we never have usually or mostly, we never have that particular empathy that I should become a customer advocate to my customers, and then business automatically follows. The revenue growth automatically happens. Most of us are short-sighted to make revenue as fast as possible. But here, next time when Ram wants a furniture, if you want to upgrade furniture, he will think of Ram, he will never go anywhere. And when then Ram's friends ask, I need to buy furniture, he'll be the first person to recommend Dandapani, not any other seller. So this guy was not a seller, but this guy was a customer advocate. And with the power of empathy, this is a deadly combination for any revenue growth across all the 4 pillars or engines. I spent a little more time on this particular slide. Let me go to the second slide. Case study again. I was part of this particular deal. There was a large RFP for an insurance company. Then this company had 19 million insurance policies for 12 million customers, spending around $9 per year for printing, postage, courier, and associated expenses. Some great consultant came, advised this particular company. It's a US-based insurance company, telling that, why don't you go green? Make all your insurance policies into a digital format, just go green. This company thought very well, yes, I should go green, and they've floated an RFP. I was part of this particular deal in the debrief session by the customer across some 8 to 10 competitors. We kept on looking at the RFP. We started solutioning without even doing a thorough needs analysis like what Dandapani Mudliar did in the previous case study. We started off this around 10, 12, 15 years back. This incident happened. When this happened, when the debrief call was happening with the customer, there was one smart cookie from a competitor company, I don't want to name the company, who asked very clearly, amongst the 12 million policy holders, have you done any kind of an analysis? How many will agree? And in US, you can't dictate things just because you want to save money or you want to save effort. And this particular company, the insurance company, had not done that job of assessing across 12 million policy holders for 19 million policies, how many will say yes, how many will say no. So should I have system A for printing, system B for e-copies or electronic copies? This particular company noted which company asked that question. They told, yes, guys, we are insurance experts, not IT experts. So this particular RFP is on hold. Please give us 1 more month time. We'll issue an addendum to the existing RFP. Of course, in a month's time, we got the addendum. But this particular company who asked that question of percentage of people agreeing for go green, this company was always in the eye of that particular insurance company. Every time in the meetings, they always kept pointing, is this company available? Who's attending from that particular company? That's a goodwill they created from the beginning, just by the virtue of doing a detailed customer need analysis, especially the hidden need or the implicit need is what we call. So what's the learning from this particular case study? Deep dive into customer need, especially the hidden needs and empathy mapping. This particular company, which was a blue-eyed company because they did this great job of deep dive customer need analysis, etc., thoroughly did a job of reading the RFP word by word, line by line. And hats off to the particular proposal strategist or whoever it is, they did a thorough analysis and impressed the customer from the very first moment onwards. So what's the key learning from here? Customer needs analysis, especially hidden needs or implicit need, and empathy mapping like what Dandapani did in the previous case study. So we saw 2 case studies. The third case study is a non-IT case study, but I'll show you can infer here how a non-digital transformation deal got converted to a digital transformation. This is also a beautiful case study. A large bank with 10,000 branches, each branch having at least 3 to 4 floors, at least having some 300, 400 bulbs, woke up one day and asked for quote to change bulbs, the non-LED bulbs to LED bulbs. All the companies went in a rat race. I'll give you for 4 rupees 20 paisa, 4 rupees 19 paisa, 4 rupees 17 paisa, etc. And this particular bank was hearing everybody looking at the least quote for replacing the bulb. What was the assumption here? The assumption here is provide best, cheapest quote for supply of LED bulbs. But there was one company who came and told, hey, you are a bank, you are the nationalized bank, you're a listed company in India. Why do you want to come to the monkey business of changing bulbs? You leave that to me, because that monkey business of changing bulbs for you is a core business for me, because we manufacture bulbs and we manufacture and supply across the globe. You leave that particular job to me. And they told, we will not only do a total managed services for you, we will also give you a year-on-year cost savings for the next 5 years. Now tell me which buyer will not like that particular seller for revenue growth. And this happened truly. What they did is they made it very clear, we are going to put sensor. This is around 10 years back when sensors were new in the industry, at least this part of globe. We'll put the sensors high end where it will not be used when nobody is around. So this was a non-digital transformation deal, asking a quotation for least price of each bulb, but this got converted to a digital transformation. They ensured customer experience, they ensured cost savings. They ensured they will also give you reduction of this year on year. And they told you just ignore this particular operation, which is a hurdle for you. So the takeaway from these three case studies is the key learnings. First one, what we saw with Dandapani Mudliar in the furniture case study. The second one is a large insurance company. The third one is a large bank. This is the last one. Maybe I can skip this. Ram's case we saw. So what did we see from this particular 4 case studies or the key takeaways? I summed it up 8 takeaways from the 4 case studies. Empathy to create solutions. As I told, go to Gemba is when we create solutions to our customers, be it products or services, understand their plight. Empathy mapping tool is a fantastic tool which can give you an indication very high level with think, feel, say, do quadrants. Means what is my customer thinking? What is my customer doing? What is my customer not doing? What problems he or she is facing and what problems can be mitigated with my solutions, my product, my services. That's the power of empathy mapping. And the primary aspect of empathy here is observe, immerse, engage. That's what all these 4 case studies did. They observed, they engaged with customer, and they immersed into their problem statements. So empathy is the first takeaway learning of creating solutions across the 4 revenue engines. Second one, as Uday mentioned, Uday rightly identified, thorough customer need analysis. In all the 4 case studies, if you observe thoroughly, it was all disruptive. The sellers, the consultants there, the customer advocates did a wonderful job of doing a thorough customer need analysis. Third one is something is bothering my customer. And as I told, around 4 to 5 needs make one RFP, which means that there are so many stakeholders who's worried something is not working in their organization. In case we know that one customer hot button, understanding the stakes of the stakeholder, I think that is also a great element or a takeaway when we do sales or any activity in revenue growth. Deep knowledge on my company's product and services. 8 out of 10 sellers, if I ask them, tell me one unique proposition of your services, they fail. Because they have not understood their own company's case studies, win themes, value proposition, differentiators, etc. Fifth one, creating disruptive solutions. As I told, somebody wanted to change a bulb. He just wanted a quotation, but there were smart cookies who told, forget about changing bulbs, but I'll give you a digital transformation solutions. Creating disruptive solution. That's one case study we saw in the 4th one. Customer advocacy, expand the scope of contact, the interest of the customers. Dandapani did this very well. He was not a seller, he was a customer advocate. In the interest of Ram's father, mother, and of course Ram, he expanded the scope in the interest of that particular family, not in the interest of making more money. So that's why we call them customer advocates, not sellers. Value-led sales, all the 4 case studies we saw, it has value more than milking the cow too much, right? We saw that very clearly. Competition, we spoke about them, assess competition and keep them at bay. When you have differentiated with all the top 7, I'm sure competition is always kept away. Positioning, for example, what happened in the insurance case study, they positioned it from the beginning as a thought leader. No other company was sought for any help or understanding, but only that company is always foremost because they positioned through a thorough customer need analysis right from the beginning. Effective conversation messaging, business storytelling, and the last one is effective objection handling and being proactive. When Ram was upset, asking, why are you asking me so many questions? Dandapani could have got scared that he'll lose the customer, he would have sold the same chair. But he was patient enough to handle that particular set of objections from Dandapani. And he was trying to be more proactive also, as we saw in other case studies. Let me pause here for a minute in case there are questions. Am I going too fast?
No, it's a good speed. It's a good speed.
Okay.
I understand in 45 minutes trying to cover so much. It's a challenge, but you're doing good. I think we all are good with that pace.
Fantastic.
Any questions, anyone? Okay, Sanjay, please go ahead. Sanjay has a question.
Sure.
Wonderful talk so far and very, very informative.
Thank you.
The role of revenue assurance in an organization, how could you express your experience of that one, please?
Revenue assurance, is it?
Yeah, so in telecom companies, there's actually a department called revenue assurance. They make sure that that the revenues are collected on time, etc., etc. I was interested if you've come across similar in your travels also.
No, I'm so sorry. I was not part of a revenue assurance team at all.
No problem.
But
Okay.
what happens is the closest what we do is in case of existing customers, the delivery managers always keep a tab of especially I come from IT services and also product companies, they keep track of how many number of people should be billed, or rather how many hours per person has to be billed per month, which is corroborated along with the business finance manager who keeps a much bigger tab than the delivery or account managers. This is how revenue assurance happens in services companies, as I've seen, Sanjay.
Actually, Ravindra, to add to that, like when there is a subscription model, then
Correct.
I think
Yeah,
I'm just trying to
exactly.
connect to Sanjay's question, like,
Correct.
what if the subscribers are not paying or, not subscribing, then who manages them kind of thing?
Correct. It's the back end.
So,
It's a
yeah, I
business
think,
finance function.
yeah.
Yeah.
Business
So
finance,
in
yeah.
software and services, software as a service, the number of seats, how many number of seats are active, how many
Correct.
number of seats are being leveraged. And then every year, when they go back on a contract renewal, that, retention of those seats or growth of those seats is kind of similar to the telecom example Sanjay was giving.
All right, so we have two more people in the queue. So let's move to Amit next.
Yeah, thank you. Ravindra, I mean, we were talking about the deep knowledge about the company's product and services. Now, I personally have experienced that when we are proposing some solution for the organization, many of times they become kind of very price sensitive. Now, to get the best possible solution, perhaps they need to understand that if I pay the price of a lemon, I can't expect apple. But unfortunately, many of the organizations, procurement team or those guys, they feel that everything is same. So, is there a way to handle that?
Fantastic question. I've come across this. I can very well relate to your question. As recent as a month back, somebody called me telling that I got your number from a reference, etc. Can you do as a training? It was for that Policy Bazaar, again in Delhi. Then I spoke to the L&D, the newly joined L&D person. She came from a procurement background, probably. And when I quoted my price, she asked me, what's your price? And then when I quoted my price, she said, I think this is what we take from 5 trainers, at least of five training sessions, she said. Which means that her expectation was 1/5, which I charge per day, right? I did not get that contract. I was not unhappy because I don't want such customers, to be honest. Whereas what I do is, as recent as 2 months back for a company in Chennai, I never usually go through the HR and L&D, etc. I go through the business because I understand their concerns, their pain points, and they resonate very well to our discussion, of course. After speaking everything, the price comes in the last. By the time that you have come to the pricing situation, you have cracked the deal. You have proved that you're a thought leader. You have proved that you're a problem solver to them, and you are the best coach in the training. So I choose or prefer the second than the first one. So to answer your question in short, value, and value. Show value.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions, or should I move on?
Sorry, thank you, Ravindra. One more question. Asad, please.
Okay.
Mr. Ravindra, slightly tangent to this.
Mhm.
When you talk of revenue maximization, I think a related aspect is controlling costs.
Correct.
And somebody was talking about someone keeping a tab on revenue, how much is coming and how much is going. I'm reminded of a slightly tangent situation.
Mhm.
Couple of years back, I had a home loan. And
Home loan.
home loan, yeah. And I
Okay.
was paying EMI every month. The loan was closed. And still the next month, I got a call that your EMI is due on such and such date.
Okay.
Now, isn't it a kind of wastage of resources that you have different departments who do not coordinate? And the entire revenue has been realized, whatever money had to come, it already come. And still, one department is chasing to get the revenue. What is your view on that?
I can call it as the operational efficiency is very low there. That's all. There is no control mechanism. I will give you one more example. I was hearing, I don't want to name the company again, one of my past companies, an employee, not an employee, a set of employees who had resigned, they were getting salaries for the next 6 months, even after their last day.
Oh dear.
It's such a revenue leakage. And the company went after them asking, return the money back. They said, I don't have money. I spent all the money. They can't do anything.
Actually, this is so interesting that, earlier I used to blame only the government departments for first laying the road and then digging it up for putting the wires or
Correct,
whatever it is.
correct.
But now the more I deal with corporates, I realize we are no different.
Oh, yeah.
We are total lack of coordination between
Yes,
different
yes.
departments.
Very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Asad, for that fantastic question. And
Yeah,
thank you,
good
Ravindra.
questions.
We
Good
have one
questions.
more question now from
Yeah.
Mahesh.
Okay.
Ravindra ji, this is my personal issue that I faced in sales. I'm not a good sales manager, by the way. I am a chartered accountant.
That's a virtue of a good salesman.
So I am a chartered accountant. So I developed the software also. I was the architect of the software. We have a company in which my products is still running in a few of the clubs. It is a mini ERP. Because I was a chartered accountant and I knew what are the ways in which the product which I created could be used for audit and sort of tracking everything. Okay, I laid a lot of emphasis on that. Then when I started selling it, this was for clubs. Okay. This is my experience. You have to tell me where I went wrong or what this thing. I used to, now in each of these clubs which are there, the right of taking a decision or the people who take decisions are elected people. There will be president, secretary, treasurer,
The management
managing committee who takes decision. But and these people either stay there for 1 year or 2 year max in most of the clubs in Bangalore. And then there is election, you don't know what. There are certain people in those clubs who are permanent, like the manager or general manager or whatever they call. Now, the problem with me, which I realized after a few times was that when I used to make my sales pitch, I used to tell everything about the product. They used to ask me to make a presentation. I used to pitch for the product. And in that, I used to tell how you can identify where your stocks are missing, your fixed assets are missing, because these are the two areas where a lot of fishy things used to happen, which as per my experience. Now, the biggest problem I faced in those situations was that this pitching was bringing the general manager directly not wanting my product.
They did not want it.
Because they were involved in it.
Okay.
90% of the clubs have this issue. I'm telling you from my experience. There are very few decision makers like the secretary or the president or the treasurer who used to put in that asset, yes, I will bring in discipline. Now, you yourself have told that bringing out the goodness or a speciality of the products has to be brought in. But I, of late, have started reducing that Whenever I find that there is a strong general manager or a manager, I don't talk about those things at all. I say how ease of doing business is there.
Hmm.
I am right or wrong?
You are absolutely right. See, I'll bring two things here. One is the stakes of a stakeholder. In case your stakeholder whom you are dealing with has power or not. In case he has no power, I think you should not waste your time. In case he has power to at least take it to the next level, you should. Because stakeholders are vertically horizontal, top to bottom, left to right. You cannot antagonize anybody in that matter. So what's the stake of that particular stakeholder? If you're talking to the president, if the president's intention of the committee is wrong, I think you're talking to a wrong person, right?
Well,
Because
here the issue is very difficult to understand. You are called there. Typically, they get some information or through a website. They call us. We go there. I don't know exactly how strong that person is and what his integrity background is, how soft he is, what election, how much with what votes he has got, telling what he has got. All those is always in the background. So it becomes very difficult for me to assess. And people expect in this thing I should come out with all the features. So it becomes very difficult to assess what should be I should or should not tell.
Yeah, see, very good question. I may not have an immediate answer unless we go through a few case studies in the product. But the intent of the stakeholder, which I call the stake, it may be a bad stake or a right stake. For him, for you, it may be bad. For him, it may be right. Pilferage is wrong according to you and me, but for him, pilferage may be a side income, right? One is the right intentions, the right stakes, point number one. The second is, which I call FDS, future desired state. If the president's vision is to really cut down the pilferage, and if your software is able to cut down at least 5, 10, 8% of the overall annual expenses and show the figure multiplied into every month's pilferage, multiplied into 12 months, and add to the cost of living adjustments, inflation, all that, tell him the future desired state 1 year down the line is this many lakhs. In 5 years, it is something 5 times, right? That big number, that future desired state big number always impresses stakeholders if the stakes of a person is good. I look at that. When I go to my sales meetings, coaching and training, I ask them, what is that you want to see 1 year down the line? When I go especially for executive coaching, I ask them, what is that you want to do 1 year down the line? Are you seeking a promotion? Are you seeking a better jump in salary, or are you looking at moving to some other company at a higher position, right? So this is nothing but the future desired state. Or are you looking at publicity on the social media? All these are desirable for any of us, right? So I look at the FDS part. So stakes, stakeholders, and the FDS for your question. I think I took a long.
Wow,
I
but
took a
that
long
was
answer.
awesome, Ravindra. I think we all
Thank you.
benefit from the FDS part of it, because that has been even my little experience that, I learned to ask a lot of questions before
Yeah.
sharing anything. So a different way of need analysis, and there without any presumption, like,
Yeah.
just tell me whatever it is. And sometimes when they are not covering some aspect, also I learned the art of asking, how about this area? Like, are there any concerns? Now, if they are party to it, they will say, no problem. That is not an issue I want you to look at. But then if they're really wanting and they're like excited about, oh, wow, we never thought of that, then this answer differently. But this is,
Sure.
wow, great question and a great answer. Any other questions, folks? Anybody? I think we are done with the questions right now, Ravindra. So over to you back again.
Great. I will take 5 more minutes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think I'll
please
come
go
to
ahead.
I come to the
Yes.
last of it.
Yes.
So looking at the top 6 inhibitors or challenges, the second slide was all about the 4 functions or engines. And we saw the case studies, and we arrived or got the 8 key takeaways. There are many, but in the interest of a half-an-hour webinar, I thought I'll bring only this. But the question is, okay, is there a method to this particular madness to grow revenue? So this is what I have coined at least some 8 years back, and I'm refining this. This cuts across all the 4 revenue engines. The first one is the sales, new win logos or win new customers. Second is the CAM or SAM, grow existing accounts. It's key account management or strategic account management. Craft winning proposals, the skills required for this. and also plan proactive proposals, part of inside sales. Guru, you asked a question on crafting winning proposals, right? Most of
yes,
the
Ravi.
right side, most of the skills on the right side is what should be done by proposal writing, contracts, negotiation teams, plus inside sales team. The left part of it, I'm not saying this, only this has to be done. It crisscrosses, but mostly on the right is for the two other engines. The left side is for the sales and growing existing accounts. What we discussed in the case studies, right? Discovering hidden needs, impactful conversation messaging, stakeholder assessment, unexpected value proposition, positioning, persuading buyer to act fast in case of Ram and Dandapani's furniture case study, handling buyer objections. All these are something which the front-ending teams will do. The back-ending team will do identify value proposition, competition assessment, and how do I differentiate amongst the competition, RFP, deal, stakeholder analysis, who's my proposal going to, who should I make a call to, prepare the script, prepare our proposal constructs, all that we do on the right side. So this is what I call the growth framework, which is a cohesive, which should be a cohesive framework or a process in any company. And this is one slide across many slides I brought in. And each of these boxes you see, for example, the customer need analysis, evaluation criteria, competition assessment, risk assessment, win strategy, all these are my coaching, training, workshops. Each of these is what I do workshops in. There was a company which hired me for 2 days only to create win strategy, identifying all the win themes of the organization. There were companies who have taken all these for in a stretch of 8 days, etc. So these are my coaching and training. This is what I advocate. Companies, you should have a framework like this. Each of these modules should be with a template, questionnaire, checklist, as part of a sales repository, which can be a scalable sales university, as mentioned in the bottom. They should be reusable. There should be a repository of all this. They should be reusable. If possible, do pursuits automation, Salesforce automation. Salesforce.com is a great tool. You can customize it. And in case you have data about your customers, win, loss, all the parameters, you can also create a predictive and a prescriptive win analytics. I've done a webinar on this. It's in my LinkedIn, done by me, co-facilitated by Infosys Senior Vice President and one Vice President from Tech Mahindra many years back. So it can be by your data within your organization about the deals, win and losses, you can know next time, will I win or lose? And if I'm losing, how should I contain my losing parameters and how should I make it a win? So this is what I do for living. And what I do is the offerings are here. Advanced consultative sales, it's a 2-day program, day 1 and day 2. These are the 8 modules, 9 modules I do. Of course, I customize this, but this is a broad level. 9 out of 10 customers take this as it is. This is one module, one training workshop, advanced consultative selling. The second one is crafting winning proposals. Whatever he spoke all comes here. And we take a real RFP, we dissect across all these 9 strategies, and we make the teams work on a proposal very high level within 2 days. The third one is strategic account management, another 9 modules here. And the last one is inside sales, accelerate with inside sales. This is my other workshop. So these 4 workshops is what I do for living. With that, I thank you for your patience. I think it was a huge monologue from me. I was doing a lot of buck probably. Thanks for listening. I'm open for any questions.
Wonderful, wonderful, Ravindra. Everybody is giving a huge round of applause in case you're not able to see the pictures. But I think this was absolutely awesome. Lot of takeaways. And I have a quick question on your offerings. So you say that you train the team to write a proposal based on an actual RFP.
Yes.
So
Yes.
my question is, suppose a company comes across a RFP that they really want to bid. And at
Mhm.
that time, they reach out to you, can you do this? Will you accept that and help the team
Yeah.
to write a proposal? Wow.
Yeah, it's called as deal coaching. You know this Digi Yatra, right? In
Yes.
Bangalore airport.
Yes.
One of the contenders was Digi Spice, one of the Birla companies, Birla clan. This lady, Preeti Das, was the CEO at the time. She engaged me for 6 weeks to put the win strategy for DigiSpice. Sorry, for DigiYatra from the DigiSpice. Every week I used to fly to Noida, Sector 21 or 19 was their office. And they were dispersed office, one in Mohali, one in somewhere.
Right.
All the teams together on a video conferencing, 2 days in a week, I used to consult them to put the entire proposal. I used to coach them on the deal and I used to make them prepare it. 2 days a coach and go, next 4 days you sit and write the proposal. So that's what we call
Awesome.
deal coaching, but that will be very expensive, in fact, because we put all our stakes into that.
Yeah, because but then there is a direct benefit and short-term benefit for a company. So
Yes,
that's awesome. Lovely to know that. This is like you are acting like the CSO for an organization
Yeah.
chief, right? But wow, amazing, amazing. So wonderful. So thank you. In fact, I would like to quickly sum up. There are a lot of takeaways, and you beautifully also actually listed out the takeaways for us. That is awesome. But for me personally, I think it is a good reminder that we have to be thought leaders in our area of expertise, and we should be considered that we should not be seen as salespeople. I mean, unfortunately, sales has become a negative term. Are you trying to just sell me? Are you a salesman? We don't want to be a salesman. We want to be seen as an advocate, as very rightly Ravindra kept saying, and we should be seen as a subject matter expert or a product expert that, I'll tell you what is right and whether this is the right product or service for you or not. And then what is the right product for you, right? It doesn't end with saying, no, don't buy this. Then what should I buy, right? So I think that was awesome. Number two, I think it again reminded me that sales job is not just of problem solving. Many times people think best need analysis I'm doing is to finding out what is their pain point or problem. Even I say that a lot of times, right? And then relieve them of that pain. But then you're doing the minimum. The best that you can do is really to build value proposition for the client, like exactly in that area what all they can think of, even if they don't know how to think of it themselves. So you are actually partnering with your client or customer and thinking on their behalf and adding value. There can be nothing better than that, I guess. I loved your future desired state. I think question anytime we are going to meet a client or customer, I would always remember FDS for sure in big. And the final one for me was, having a definite growth framework, with like a SOP with all those things, and which is constantly also being looked into and changed. So it's not something you develop once. Many times I see somebody has developed once, and then the same thing is no more working because times have changed, market has changed. But then nobody is developing the second set. They're all busy dealing with today. And nobody knows, nobody is putting the time and effort and energy for the future. So I think all of these were awesome. And I see something coming up. Ravindra, please share what is that?
Yeah, because you mentioned about the FDS, and also Mahesh was also asking that question.
Yes.
What we do here is we draw the current state and we show them the new reality or the future desired state.
Fantastic.
And we make a trajectory, how we take your teams forward, enabling them across the 4 engines. And by enabling your team, if you add 1% extra to your win ratio, which is 18% or 19% or 20% on the top line, that is the value I create for you. And that is a new reality. And no seller will say, sorry, no buyer will not want to talk to you after this. It means they want to engage you. You understood the current state, you're taking them to a new state or a desired state, and you have a plan of taking them forward, and you're showing the ROI also. I will increase your win ratio by 1%, 1.5%, which means if you are a 100 million company per year you're growing at, I'm adding $1.5 million revenue for you. So that is one way of depicting a future desired state. So I have a lot of templates like this.
I know, please keep sharing. We are hungry now. But this is awesome. And actually, it reminds me that when we go even to sell, I realize if you do it the way that Ravindra is suggesting, you become an advisor or a consultant
Yeah.
rather than, a salesperson of a product or service,
Correct.
which
Correct.
is so very awesome. Wow. Thank you once again, Ravindra. It was
Thank
a
you so much.
wonderful session and we are hungry to have you more. And definitely please share more details about all those awesome things that you do with the companies. We would like to see how we can jointly promote that. And we are hungry also to offer some things from your side directly for people through the B2C engine. Like, Guru Raj and others who are here, like, today attended, they might want to actually register for some short-term course that you may offer rather than just a 1-hour webinar. Even we may ourselves, the members here from our team, we may all want to actually register. So I will be in touch with you and we will share all those details with all the awesome people here and let us take that forward. Thank you
Fantastic.
once again for this awesome webinar, for sharing everything and your time. And all the participants, I also want to wish you from the bottom of my heart for actively participating in
Yeah.
this webinar. Any last words from anybody? Welcome before we go off.
Actually, ma'am, a special thanks to you because you brought in Ravindra because this is today just 1% of what we have seen today. So there are a lot more things.
Yes,
We can-
Guru Raj. So I and you are going to team up and know what all we should ask from Ravindra ji and then keep getting him back for us. Lovely. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank
My
you
pleasure.
so
My
much.
pleasure. I learn a lot while I during these webinars and trainings and coaching.
True, true.
It's a
That is
lifelong
true.
journey. Yeah.
That is true.
Thank you
So
so much.
thank you
so
once
much.
again. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you again.
Bye.
Have a wonderful weekend, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.